Yeah, I guess just broadly speaking, what's the approach going into this game? Knowing that probably a result gets you through, but winning would essentially secure the top spot in the phase.
Got it?
As always, we're going to play to win. We're going to play to entertain our fans. And, nothing is guaranteed in life. If we don't win, we might not go through, even with the fantastic start that these guys had. So for us, the messaging has to be play up to your ability first. It always gives us the best chance of winning. And then making sure we do all the little details, to help us go through in this competition and hopefully win the game.
Also, for both of you guys, looking at that Santos game, specifically offensively, what did you see on film that both worked and maybe that could have also worked better from the film in that game?
Yeah, I think number one, always playing against a five in the back is always tough. I think that we, struggle to have the ball and create a bit of momentum on our side. I felt like there are moments where they controlled the game, and then in the final third, it was how can we get in behind? How can we stretch their back line, make them defend us a little bit more honestly. But I felt like on the ball, there are moments where we needed to be a little bit cleaner and keep the ball and start attacks and maintain that momentum when we have the ball.
We weren't as clean in our possession. They actually outpossessed us even before the red card. A lot of times our possession is what leads us into the final third and starts our final third movements. So the little bit of dysfunction, a little bit of, look, and we're going to give Santos credit. They were a tricky team to play against. They played hard. But that's what we saw in the film.
To that same aspect, how much of that dysfunction and how much maybe it was tough to get possession came out of how much they muddied the game and 22 fouls, they really disrupted you guys' passing sequences. That's for both of you, and then specifically for Brian, what do you expect out of this Abreu Rand Cholos team?
The dysfunction, I don't know if I'd call it dysfunction. The way the game played out, certainly was challenging. Certainly they gained momentum after that dust up with Masowski and the red card and the penalty and not the red card. It gave them life. So I don't know if I'd call it dysfunction. We just weren't able to establish any rhythm to the game. And as far as Sebastian is concerned, if I can call him that, what a tremendous career he had. Very colorful, very good, talented striker. 700 games, a bunch of goals, a lot of stops in his career. His first time managing a Liga MX team, but certainly a tremendous. How do I want to put this? He's a very famous person in South American soccer and football legends, Uruguay. I mean, he's got an impressive resume.
I want to hear your take on the 22,000 that was.
Yeah, it's something that you got to deal with. Obviously, it creates less rhythm to the game, a lot more stoppages, keeps people a little bit more engaged. But what I will say is that is the moment where you need to intensify things on our end, right? Have a stronger mentality on our end. When the game is like that, you have to be ready for that type of battle or increase the intensity and mentality throughout the game. And so, understanding that it's going to be that type of game, you got to still show your quality. But now it's about tackles, second balls, establishing directional heading. Because the intensity of that game it's going to be a little bit more pinball-y.
This is a question for both of you. how do you guys see yourselves matching up against a team like Club Tijuana?
I think that first and foremost, they're a quality team who can see it. They're a team that plays 4-3-3. Their midfielders move quite a bit to find the ball to their feet. Their link-up play to their strikers pretty good. I think we're in good form right now, and I think that it's more about how can we maintain that, sustain that. We talked about going into this game wanting to win, and that's also to sustain our momentum that we've had since the Club World Cup. I believe we're unbeaten, and we want to sustain that. We want to keep that going, because when you feel like things are going your way, you need to do everything possible to keep that going.
And the coach has done a good job rotating his team, so he'll have fresh legs on the field. They obviously have a super talented young player, Mora, who's a fantastic talent. So up and down the squad, they have some experience, they have some youth. It's going to be a good team and a challenging match.
Speaking of rotating players, how important is that for you guys heading into this match and getting fresh legs, especially with this stretch of games?
We'll make some strategic changes to the last lineup, but I thought our rotation has been good. I mean, obviously it's going to help in a 3-game week, and then after this we got to get back to league play, so there will be some rotation.
I don't see questions in Zoom. For that matter, we'll have time for follow-ups here in the room.
Just wanted to talk to Coach about, more than the lesson learned by Georgie. How much admitting you have to do, make sure that he stays on the right mentality. It's probably hard on him, getting a moment that great and then be immediately taken away by the red card.
Well, we talked about that. I like to keep those things private, but I had a nice long conversation with Georgie. That's all done and dusted, put to bed. The new rule, because it happened twice in a row with 2 young players, the new rule is no exuberant, no showing the shirts, no nothing after goals. Celebrate with your teammates. I think the game before, Pedro had mentioned it. Some guys, Jesus mentioned it. Go celebrate with your teammates. Don't make it about yourself. That's the message.
And for Christian, yourself and maybe with Obed, maybe even closer, how much is it going to be important to limit a guy like Gilberto Mora? He's kind of like the wonder kid of Mexico right now, and Obed is kind of in that trajectory to being kind of a young star there. How much competitiveness goes into facing him in this game?
Yeah, competitiveness in every game for sure. I'm gonna probably speak for Obed when he's probably has a little bit added motivation to kind of show that he's at that level. But we all believe it, we all see it. But Obed and I will, be a strong pairing as always. We'll make things difficult. But the kid is talented. Don't get me wrong. He has shown his quality in this tournament. He's shown his quality with the national team and in Liga MX. And so it's a group effort, right? We always talk about it being not just one individual to shut down a player, or it's the entire team. We can't be man oriented. We need to be able to keep the best players limited in games by the collective.
We'll have time for 2 more, and then we'll complete.
Brian, it's been a few matches since Nuhu returned from his suspension, and I'm wondering if you're seeing maybe a step up on the tape from how he's performing on the field, maybe also from his leadership aspect. We saw him go to Georgie during the celebration.
That was definitely a step forward for Nuhu, that he's engaged in the game, understood the circumstance, and provided some advice to Georgie, although a little bit late, but at least he saw it, so that's a step forward. I have been challenging him on leadership because he is the 3rd longest tenured player at this club. No, 4th. Yeah, Jordan, Cristian, and Newton. So he's got to step forward in some of those moments where he can provide his own form of leadership. He doesn't do it the same as Cristian or Steph, but he needs to start working on that. And then his play on the field has been better. I think the message was well received. But I wasn't pleased with him, and his performance has been good.
Yeah, Christian, you finally you got a game off, or you didn't have to start this last game. How did it feel just watching part of the game from the bench, and how did your legs feel getting into a game where you were kind of going against tired legs?
Yeah, it's a different perspective, for sure. You're kind of changing your role. You're anticipating what you're trying to watch the game and anticipating what you'll probably see on the field and what you can do to maximize your time on the field. And so having the right mindset is always important when you're resting, because it's not necessarily resting. You got to be ready. Injuries can happen. Anything can happen. And so a strong mentality, I think, for me to buy into that, for sure. It's a little strange, for sure, but we have a deep squad, and when we talk about rotation, I think anybody really on our bench can be in the starting lineup, and that's a powerful message, I think, that we all believe. So it was good. I think in the long term, it's going to help, right? Any moments that you can take take some time off, it's always important for the longevity of the year.
Let's fit this one last one then. Thank you.
Yeah, what lessons and takeaways from the past two Phase 1 matches can you apply against Tijuana? Both of you.
From the previous two games, you're saying?
Yes, yeah.
That intensity is always important against Mexican sides. You're going to have a lot of 1v1 situations, duels, and so going back to always strong mentality. That's always going to be your starting point. And then you have to believe that you can play. You have to believe that you can dribble out of pressure, play under pressure. Because that's another thing that Mexican teams like to do. It's a lot of 1v1s around the field, and the ability to wiggle out of pressure or pass out of pressure is going to be really important.
I think the games just feel different. There's a different feel to the game. Even the refereeing is different sometimes. The players they're used to some of the referees that we have in MLS, and we come to these games, and the matches feel different. So for them, again, playing up to their potential, the standard we set at Club World Cup, these types of games, kind of continue that momentum, because it's not just a regular league game. So they're up for it. They're always up for the big games, and that'll help us throughout the remainder of the year.
Thank you.